We should be live now. What's up, ladies and gents? Ryan here, DFS 5-Pack. We're going to roll solo through the NBA DFS stuff for tonight. And obviously, at this point, most of you guys have probably heard that Kawhi Leonard is out for the game, potentially for the series. So that is a game changer and a half. The playoffs have been filled with them this year with the injuries, throughout a lot of different teams. But this is obviously a big one. And it has a lot to do with the way that this tonight's slate is going to break down. So, that being said, click that thumbs up button and let's jump into this and kind of go through what we think the better plays are going to be for the evening. All right. You can tell by the cover that there's a certain young man from the Utah Jazz that I have a good feeling about today, and we'll talk about him here briefly. In the meantime, though, guys, we will do another video today breaking down Sports Battle, which is a new company, a new DFS company that we've been working with. So stay tuned for that. And if you can give that video a quick look, that is appreciated. Monthly and weekly memberships are available at the website link below. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. And let's talk about cash game locks. So lock might be a strong word, but I look at Seth Curry as a very, very solid cash game play today. Without Danny Green in the lineup, this only helps him. He becomes their primary, not that he wasn't before, but really, really their primary floor spreader. He is more needed than ever. He'll play big minutes. He's extremely reliable. We saw the other day, Joel Embiid does not look 100% healthy. So in a situation, 2-2 now, backs a little bit against the wall, only in the sense that they shouldn't have gotten to this point, probably in their opinion. But home game for Philly, where they're always better. Again, he's more solid than spectacular, but Seth Curry is just one of those dudes that goes out there on a daily basis, gives you what you need off of his $5K salary, helps you build a lineup with better players on top of that. And he's just a very, very nice floor play based on his price. A lot of people at this price tag come NBA playoffs are not nearly as reliable as Seth Curry is. They need his three-point shooting. And with the defense crashing down on the likes of, Simmons and Joel Embiid and whatnot, he gets open three-point shots. So he's just, a solid play today. Next up, the flip side of that, maybe a little bit more volatile, but I would admit definitely a higher upside today, is going to be Reggie Jackson of the Los Angeles Clippers. So again, no Kawhi Leonard. It's a shame, right? I think we want to watch the best players play in the playoffs, and now one of the best players left in the playoffs and could be playing for at least tonight, if not for a couple of games. So where are the Clippers going to go for offense? Obviously, Paul George now becomes their best player, which is a very scary situation if you're a Clippers fan. But they do have an abundance of role players who have had their peaks and valleys throughout the playoffs. And a guy he's impressed me. I want to say kudos to Reggie Jackson for a guy who I thought had legit chances to be a DMP throughout the postseason. He has played well. He has played assertive. He has played aggressive. With his minutes tonight, they need guys that create shots. They need guys that can get their own shot and create for others, and that's Reggie Jackson. I like him better points per dollar than I do Paul George. He's a guy that I expect to have the ball in his hands significantly more tonight. He's got both point guard and shooting guard eligibility. I think the price tag at 5,100 is good based on what we can expect out of him tonight. My biggest worry is the Clippers just get rolled. I could see Utah putting their foot down right here, smelling blood in the water, and we'll get to that one next, and this not being a super competitive game. Could be a situation where a team without their star kind of steps up, but in Utah, it's a rough spot for the Los Angeles Clippers. So that's my biggest fear with a bunch of the role players. This one isn't overly competitive, but there's still a bunch of decent players on the Clippers. So I will give them enough credit to at least keep this game viable. And that's where a guy like Reggie Jackson, to me, is a really good piece for today's game. Next up, tonight's cover boy, playoff star, Donovan Mitchell. Dude, he's a shark. He smells blood in the water. I expect him to have a big game tonight back at home. Conley's going to be rusty at best if he even plays. Probably not going to play huge minutes. I think Mitchell puts his stamp on this game a lot earlier than he has recently. He's had some first quarter struggles, which is why they've been playing from behind. I expect Mitchell to come out assertive and aggressive tonight. I think Mitchell ends the first quarter with a close to 25 DK points this evening. I'm calling a big monster first quarter from Donovan Mitchell. I trust him in this spot. This guy's grown on me for every postseason game that I've watched him. He's better than I gave him credit for a year or two ago. This kid can play, and this is a guy that I trust in a big moment. We haven't seen him win a chip or anything like that, but that goes for most of the NBA at this point. But I trust Donovan Mitchell in the big moment. And tonight, to me, is a big moment. They need this game. They cannot lose this game. This is a must-win for them. And I think Mitchell puts the team on his shoulders, and he brings it home for the boys in Utah tonight. It's a big spot for him, and I trust him in this spot. Next, let's pivot to some more long shots for the day. I got a couple of centers to go through. Let's start with Dwight Howard. So Dwight Howard is 3,400, and this is a guy who could actually hit upside in about 10 minutes. He's not the DPOY that he used to be, 10 years ago, but he's still a solid, NBA player. And a lot of this comes down to me for health and the health of Joel Embiid, being that they probably want to get to the Nets next round of the playoffs and be healthier. If you can get through this game without Embiid playing major minutes, that's an advantage for the Philadelphia 76ers. At 3,400, he doesn't need a lot of time on the court to be fine. And in a scenario where the Harrises and Simmons and the Currys of the world play well early and the 76ers get a lead at home, I can see his run extending anywhere from 2 to 8 minutes longer today while they let Embiid, they don't force him into monster minutes, so they can do whatever they can to get him as healthy as possible for the rest of the playoffs. So I like Dwight Howard today at 3,400. I trust him more than I trust the next guy. But in a similar vein, look at Zubac for a potential GPP long shot in this one. And what I mean by that is there's going to be a lot of Clippers love today for some of their role players. Now, I don't put Zubac in the guy that's going to get a lot of love. I also don't think he's your quote-unquote best bet to get a higher rate of usage and higher DFS points today. And that's, again, why he won't be very high on. But is there a scenario where they feed him a little bit today, they get him more touches on the offensive end, that he has a big game? This scenario exists. It's not your best bet, but once again, that's why he falls into the long shot category. He's not going to get a lot of love tonight. I cannot imagine him being very, very popular. It's possible I see this wrong, but I just don't expect Zubac to be a guy who is very, very popular tonight. He has not done enough for anybody lately to him warrant being popular. I think the natural progression is going to be wing players getting more love for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he just isn't that. So I think it's a potential idea at low ownership. And on a 2-game slate, getting guys at low ownership, finding one guy that balls for you but not most people, it's all you need to get to the mountaintop of a GPP. That is what I got today, folks. Click that thumbs up button. We appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you for Night Baseball in a bit.